All right, Gary, tell us about some of the challenges that your rural community is facing.
Well, I think, first off, my Senate district encompasses 7 entire counties in west central Minnesota. 4 of them border on South Dakota. But I think, the further west you come, the more interest there is in kind of the shift in energy independence that we see making some progress in the state and in the country today. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would really like to own, a portion of the production capacity that is needed. And, to a lesser extent, I think there's interest in the transmission capacity. But it does seem to me that with some of the legislation that has recently passed, that the transmission capacity will go to kind of this new holding company that's being formed. But the generation capacity is quite a different story. And I know that, the rural electric co-ops are quite uncomfortable with it, and I can see why. I mean, it's really, going to take a portion of the business that they have. Although, I don't buy in on the notion that they feel that it's a more expensive form, particularly wind, but I think, solar is coming into its own too. Just about a year and a half ago now, I went out to the National Solar Institute in Washington, D.C., and I can tell you that last year solar came down about 30% in what it costs to install that on a home. And so far this year, it's down about 18%. So I think, we'll see another 30% reduction this year. And I suspect that it will come close to that again next year. It'll drop to, a small fraction of what it once was just a few years ago. My suspicion is that within 3 to 4 years, we'll see solar, so that it has the same kind of payback that geothermal has right now. And some of the solar thermal applications that are out there are already, at a point where they're giving people a payback in a fairly short period of time, although I keep telling people that there have been ways to get a payback from your electric utility on thermal for some time, just by insulating your water heater a little better. I actually had a friend of mine who installed his own electric meter on his water heater, and by the time he put 3 of these insulating jackets around it, he could get the meter to stop except when he was using hot water. I thought that was quite interesting that he could conserve enough electricity from that his utility bill was reduced by about 30%. So that water heaters are huge. They really use a lot of electricity. They're almost moochers off of the other appliances in your home. But anyway, I think that there are a lot of things happening in that area, and I think they will continue to happen. I think whenever our society is in a period of transition, and I think we're there now with energy, at least, that it's uncomfortable for the people who are currently providing you with that kind of thing. But it offers great hope for the future, I think, in terms of just your own personal economics, that you'll be able to save the kinds of dollars that people are saving with geothermal particularly. But, there are increasing numbers of people putting solar on their homes now, primarily because they want to lower their own carbon footprint with the climate change thing. And, I just bought a hybrid vehicle for the same reason. I have to do a lot of traveling because I have 7 counties, and I thought, well, I could cut my own fuel consumption by 50% if I would buy one of these vehicles. And it probably isn't quite 50%, but it's close. And, I really like it a lot when I'm at the pump. It saves a lot of dollars at that point, and it helps those dollars to go further. And I can see where even though you have to pay a little more for a hybrid vehicle, it gives you a payback when you drive the number of miles that I do, so that you can replace the vehicle with the reimbursement that you get for constituent travel. So, you know, it's been quite beneficial for me personally in that way. So, well, I spent quite a bit of time on one question.
That's great, though. That sounds like the renewable energy, and that's a lot about what your community and the districts that your big district covers is thinking about.
Yeah, well, I have 54 incorporated towns and about 9 that are not. So, you know, I have a lot of small communities. My largest town is 5,200, and my second largest town is 3,250. And then there's only one more above 3,000, and I happen to live there, and that's just 3,100. So, and then they drop pretty quickly after that. So, a lot of towns in the 1,500 to 2,000 range. But.
Great. Thanks very much.